Now, the effects of video gaming. This is one of the big plagues on our civilization. I'm talking about global civilization. This is a multi-billion-dollar industry with massive resources and power now. This is incredibly harmful. It's people die from this. There was a Japanese boy who gamed until he had a heart attack. People die from this. It's true there are only a small number of people that are going to get addicted in that way. But this is what Islam is, a rahmah to people. So it prohibits things that are harmful. Anybody who studied fiqh knows there's a section on bi'. It's prohibited to sell alatul lahu. It's haram to sell games. You can make your own games, you know, like play games, children play games, rocks and stones. Little kids, they don't care what you give them. But to sell things and make money off lahu is prohibited in our sharia. Nobody talks about this anymore. They just think, oh, you can just go and do this and it doesn't matter. You know, this is what's happened to us because shaitan has taken us by steps. So if you look at these things, social isolation, drop in school performance, obesity, people that game are fatter than people that don't, wasting time, which is a great sin in our religion. To waste our time. It's sinful to waste time. Omar said, akrahu an ara ahadukum sabahlala. I hate to see one of you wasting his time. Imma fi dunyahu aw imma fi ukhrahu. Be doing something to benefit your dunya or something to benefit your akhirah. But don't just waste your time of no benefit. And people say, oh, but brother, this is good for dexterity skills. I want to be a surgeon, and it actually teaches you eye-hand coordination. It's going to help me. You know, nice argument. Violent tendencies. We know this. Financial loss, decrease in empathy. You become less empathic. Average age of these players, 35 years old. What are you doing? Seriously, 35 years old is the average. You know, I'll tell you, I'm gonna make a confession, all right? This is a confession. And my wife will testify to this. When I first got back to the United States, when I left, there were no computers. When I got back after 10 years being overseas, there were computers. All right? I actually met my wife. She taught me how to use the computer. So that's how I met. So I owe computers to that. So, but there was a game called Tetris. And I had never done this before. So I started playing it. And it was really interesting, and I was, oh, okay, and I worked it out, and I don't even know how long I played it for. When I finished, I turned away, and I was seeing those images come down. I never did it again. And my wife would testify, I don't play any of those games. I've never played any of those games. I am against those games. They're evil games. And I really encourage you just to give them up and utilize your time. Learn a language. Go talk to the Orang Asli about Islam. You know, go clean up. Get like volunteer groups that do litter pickup on your streets. You know, seriously, go do something useful. Go work out. You know, keep your body healthy. Go play soccer. Go visit your grandmother. Go to a hospital and visit people that aren't getting people visiting them. Do something useful, but don't waste your time doing this. 49% are 18 to 49-year-olds. 25% less than 18-year-old. 26% are over 50 years old. So this is ammat al-balwa. Look at the physical fight. Gamers, 40% of females have been in a physical fight in America, 51% of males. Look at the non-gamers, 14% as opposed to 28%. You know, and they'll say, oh, but you can't prove any correlation, right? You can't prove it. You don't need a rocket scientist to just know the obvious. It's like the study they did in America to find out why pizzas burn people, the roof of their mouth, and then they found it's because the cheese covers the heat on the tomato sauce, right? After spending a lot of money to work that out. You know, I mean, this is the kind of stupidity that right? poor grades. Females, almost 40%, 35% of the males, as opposed to 20% and 23%. No relationship, though, no correlation, can't prove it. Damaged property, 15% of the gamers, 23%. This is people going out and damaging property. In other words, delinquency. 5% of females, 10% of males, which is still high, I think. 89% of top-selling video games contain violent content. Half of it is of a serious nature. Highly criticized video game, Grand Theft Auto, which was actually developed by some criminals. They were real criminals, drug dealers. They came up with this idea. You get points by killing policemen. And then they wonder why all these, violence towards police, right? And then the police react. It's a two-way street in America. If you notice in a lot of these situations, they completely disregard the police. They don't do what they tell them. They say, get on the ground. They don't get on the ground. It's a major problem. And the police use excessive force, especially against African Americans. It's a horrific situation that we have in the United States against poor people. These police forces, and now they're giving them commando equipment. They look like they just got off the desert war, right? They have tanks in small towns in America. Shaitan gets you little by little, step by step. We used to have policemen that didn't carry guns in the United States. England used to have policemen, they didn't carry guns. They called them bobbies. You asked them a question. Right? Now they have Uzis or whatever they're using. They don't use Uzi. I don't know what their gun is, what their weapon of mass destruction of choice is in England. The game grossed $300 million in the United States by the end of 2002. Now we're in the billions. It was banned in Australia. Good for them. Good for the Aussies. Look at this industry. He takes you by steps. I mean, look, you're looking, this is 2008. It was almost $12 billion. It's a lot of power. When you have that kind of money, you can buy judges, you can lobby people, you can do immense things. This is the world that we live in now that's been created. Just watch this scene. This is a game. This is a game that people play. See, I mean, you don't let your kids
Parents
watch
are going
this.
to buy children games like this. This is real. Kids underage play many games like this because when parents go to buy games, they don't check the age ratings. So this Christmas, when you go to buy a new Xbox game, check the age rating.
Yeah, that's to me a lousy message. Don't go buy it. That's the real message. Don't buy it. Forget the age rating.